everyone, Attorney Knighton here of Sterling Law Offices, and today I'm talking about how to deal with your spouse during a divorce. Unfortunately, and I see this quite often, divorce brings out the worst in people because there's a lot of fear and anxiety, and so people, when they're feeling fearful and anxious, don't tend to act in the best manner. And really, they start looking out for their own self-interest. And so for some people, they think that their self-interest justifies being deceitful, lying, and just being plain out nasty. So in order to protect yourself going through the divorce process, you're going to have to set up some new rules or guidelines on how you deal with your spouse so you are able to protect your interests. So here are some tips to deal with your spouse during divorce. First tip, if the love is gone, it's time to substitute politeness. You need to walk away from any conflicts or arguments because in the end, they're not going to get you anywhere. Be skeptical of what is said to you. A lot of times, what is said to you is meant to deceive you, to tell you what they want you to know, what they want you to believe, and it may not be the truth. It's sometimes to play dumb, good to play dumb, and not let your spouse on to what you already know. Because then you'll be able to understand if they're lying to you because you already know the truth, or if they're minimizing it, or if they're maximizing or overemphasizing things. It's good to play dumb sometimes. Your spouse will probably talk badly about your divorce attorney. They do that in a way to influence you and get you to not take your own attorney's advice and listen to what they have, which is an idea that serves their best interests, not yours. If you hire an attorney, you should always take your attorney's advice, or at least present any idea that's presented to you to your attorney, because your attorney should always be looking out for your best interests. Your spouse is going to be looking out for theirs. If you have an attorney, don't sign anything unless you talk with your attorney first, because you're not always certain with one idea about property division, how that's going to impact all of the rest of your agreements. So please don't sign anything unless you have your attorney look at it. When in doubt, again, believe your attorney. Your attorney always has your best interests in mind. And regardless if you're going through a fairly friendly and non-adversarial divorce process, remember still in the back of your mind that your spouse is looking out for them and you need to look out for yourself. Your attorney is a hired insulator. So if your spouse is pretty aggressive and that they always want you to do what they want and are always asking you to give an answer to what they're suggesting, always go back to and say, you know what, I have to talk to my attorney and then I'll let you know. If there are times where you have legal victories, because we are in court during the pendency of the case, so there's temporary orders, there are temporary agreements that are reached, and hearings that are had, and sometimes you will have a hearing and things will turn out in your favor. Never rub it in the other side's face, because a sore loser is more difficult to work with. If you are still living with your spouse, try to keep all your communication separate. So get a new post office box to prevent you not getting the mail or your spouse going through your mail. And also even email. If you can set up a new email account, a new password so that your spouse can't get into that important communication that you're getting. You should never keep your files in the house. You should try to find another way to lock them up. If it's a desk at your office, at a family member's house that you trust, you can also put it in a locked box and drop it off at a family member's house. Just don't keep your private paperwork around. I wouldn't always presume that every document that you get from the court that the attorney gets. Sometimes the court can make an error and not provide a notice to your attorney. So when you get something, just send a quick email or talk to your attorney about the next time you get a telephone call, and just follow up to make sure the attorney received the same document. Don't be intimidated if your spouse gives you an ultimatum that, here's the best offer he's going to give. You need to accept it right now. There's normally a better offer that can be done, and negotiating a gun never feels good. These tips are useful, and I've seen them play out in many divorces. I hope these tips you will find will be useful for you. If you have any more questions about the divorce process and what to expect, there's lots of information on our website and part of our blog at www.sterlinglawyers.com, and I will see you next time.